Hello students, welcome again to your sociology current affair classes. Today we are going to discuss about the issue of freebies, or as the Prime Minister of our India says, Revdi culture. That how and why the freebies culture has been getting importance in recent decades, especially in recent years. In every election you must have been seeing that every political party has been giving away or trying to vouch voters in the terms of freebies कि हम 100 watt electricity free देंगे, we will give this amount of water free, we will give bus tickets to every woman free, etc, etc. Okay, so we will discuss that what is the need of this freebies, why this freebies culture is getting prominence nowadays, and what are the impacts, positives as well as negatives, and what can be a way forward. Okay. So moving forward in our lecture, first is what is the meaning of freebies. So basically when you go to the general term, freebies means anything which is given free. Okay, so the dictionary meaning of freebies is a thing that is given or provided free of charge, that is there is no cost involved. Okay. There is no such perfect definition given to freebies by any of the organizations. Neither Election Commission of India gives any direct definition for this freebies, nor does any political parties or RBI or anyone had given a perfect definition to freebies. Okay, so in the line of this, recently in June 2022, RBI in its bulletin has tried to define the freebies. Okay, so according to RBI, the freebies is a public welfare measure that is provided free of charge. A public welfare measure that is provided free of charge. Okay, so what is the importance of here? Welfare of public, that is very much important, that it should be a welfare kind of connotation. Then it tries to give some extra character, adjectives to these freebies, that RBI adds that freebies can be distinguished from public or merit goods such as education and healthcare and other state expenditures that have wider and long-term benefits. Okay, so any long-term and wider any public welfare measures which have a longer and wider benefits, which have a sustained benefits for the society, they are not considered as freebies. Okay, so freebies are basically considered as, by this definition of RBI, as a temporary kind of thing, temporary kind of welfare measure which is provided for some particular time. Okay, but it has not some longer impact. Okay, but now here comes a very much important to differentiate between welfare measures versus freebies. Okay. What RBI trying to say is that welfare measures have a long-term sustainability. That these welfare measures have long-term sustainability. They are, plus they have wider social need as well as impact. Okay, whereas freebies is a temporary kind of thing and it doesn't have any wider impact. But the issue is, who is going to differentiate that this is a welfare measure and this is a freebie? For example, giving a particular mixture grinding free to voters, है ना. एक political party ने बोला कि अगर हम election में आते हैं तो we will provide mixture grinders, free mixture grinders, or we are providing free mixture grinders to women. Now for some this is not a welfare measure, है ना, कि ये तो welfare measure नहीं है, एक तो temporary gain के लिए आप इनको mixture grinder free में दे रहे हो. But if we look for the other argument, that what about the houses which doesn't have any mixture grinder earlier at their home? What about the impact of that mixture grinder on the women? कि पहले उनको ज़्यादा टाइम लगता था खाना बनाने में, now the time will be less. For example, अगर कहीं women लड़कियां खाना बना रही हैं तो time will be less time will be utilized in cooking food. That means the saved time can be utilized for the empowerment as well as education of the girl child. Okay, so ये connotation, this is a confusion between welfare measures and the freebies, that what can be considered as a freebies की जो temporary period के लिए है free of charge हम दे रहे हैं, and what can be the considered as the welfare measure which is for the long time sustainability, which is for the wider social impact. Okay, so this is the issue in which our society or the political sphere has been fighting now these days. Another example can be taken here as ki when the government comes to the power and in budget, they try to convince the corporates by giving so many or trying to give incentives to the corporates by tax incentives or other tax benefits etc. Okay, कि GST rate कम कर दिया या कहीं हमने for example this entrepreneurship act tax हमने नहीं लगाया, social benefit tax हमने नहीं लगाया, some kind of things like that. Now when should it be considered as a freebie or not? For the corporate culture this is an incentive for their improvement. But what if the same kind of incentive given to the common people? That will be considered as a freebie, that you are giving free electricity to the common people, you are giving free water to the common people. That will be considered as a freebie, that you are trying to make them dependent on the government machinery. But the same kind of initiative has been given to the corporates also. Hana? Then they are saying that for corporates it is an incentive, for common people it is freebies. So these kind of connotations, these kind of confusions are going on with the term of freebies itself. Okay, so to solve this analysis, to solve this problem, Supreme Court recently has tried to force government to make up a public authority kind of thing, that authority will decide, or that institution will decide that what is freebie, what are the pros and cons of the freebies and all. Okay, so right now we are dealing with, or we are confused with this terminology of freebies itself. Ki what should be considered as a freebie, which help or which subsidies should be considered as a welfare measures. Okay, so then Election Commission has time and again has says that freebies is a term open to subjective interpretation. Okay, which are the examples we just have talked about, that it is open to the subjective interpretation and there is no precise legal definitions of freebies. Now, why there is increase in freebies culture right now in India? Okay, first is vote bank politics. The politicization of everything is bad for India. Okay, for example, politicization of religion, using religion in politics, politicization of caste, using caste in politics. Same for this politicization of this welfare policies. This is also bad for India. So for the vote bank, for garner of vote of the particular community, vote for the particular society, vote for the particular gender, these freebies are being announced one after another. For example, in southern states there is freebies of giving free electricity, free electronics, free television, free washing machine, etc. So to garner votes, to capture votes, political parties are turning this welfare kind of thing into a freebies war, where they trying to watch as much as votes as possible by giving free something related to electronics, related to electrical appliances, related to mobile phone, etc., etc. Then criminalization of politics. Now we already know there are a lot of criminals in the politics. The criminalization of politics is related to the use of money power also. Use of money power. How they are going to use money power? In different ways. One of the ways is by giving freebies. है ना कि पैसा इतना है हमारे पास for the criminals who are entering to the politics, that they have lot of money, and that money they are using into giving free goodies to the people, and in return they are asking for votes. Then poverty and inequality. For the diverse society like India, where there is already a high incidence of poverty, this freebie culture has been used in that way also, है ना कि they are trying to make a perception by freebies. Political parties are trying to make a perception that they are trying to help to the common people, है ना. इतनी poverty, इतनी inequality है, but on the sphere of larger social welfare schemes, for example, that Garibi Hatao Yojana in the 1970s, है ना, but still the poverty is still prevalent in society. So the failure on the larger scale, that we are not able to provide remove poverty from society, we are not able to remove the inequality from society, this freebies as a temporary thing is considered as a perception by the government, perception by the political parties कि नहीं हम कुछ कर रहे हैं, and people also watch for this perception. No, they are trying to give us free this time, that means they will be giving us free this for the larger period of time also. So they are trying to make a perception, that the government is trying to make a perception that they are working for the common people. They are working for the help of the common people, and this creates a perception in the common mind also that yes, government is working for us to remove the poverty, to remove the inequality. Okay. Then competitive populism. अब दो political parties, if 2 or 3 political parties are fighting an election in a particular state, in a particular constituency, there are different methods used by them to vouch for the voters. Okay. One method is by the use of freebies. कि एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बोल रही कि हम टीवी फ्री देंगे, द नेक्स्ट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी विल से दैट वी विल गिव टीवी एज वेल एज वॉशिंग मशीन. द अदर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी विल से दैट वी विल गिव अ फ्री एसी. Okay. So these kind of competitive populism is giving rise to this freebies culture. Okay. So in this line, Atul Kohli, he has said that the freebies culture is driven by electoral competition in India, with parties engaging in competitive populism to outbid each other. This puts immense pressure on state finances and can lead to unsustainable policies, which is the negative impact of our freebies culture. Okay. कि एक दूसरे को आउटबिड करने के लिए they are trying to give different kinds of freebies to the common people. Some party is saying that we will give 100 watts of electricity free. Other party promises that we will give 125 watts of electricity free. So these are the differences because of this competitive politics, and which is giving rise to this freebies culture. Then inadequate social welfare. This is the one of the same kind which we have talked about in poverty and inequality, that the prevalence of inadequate and inefficient social welfare programs led to the adoption of freebies as a quick fix to the solutions. Okay, quick fix to address the social and economic issues. That it has been seen that कि हाँ पॉवर्टी एंड इनइक्वालिटी तो इतनी ज़्यादा है, हमने एक परसेप्शन तो क्रिएट कर ही दी है कि हम हेल्प करना चाहते हैं. तो दैट परसेप्शन इज नथिंग बट अ quick fix to the problems which the society has been facing at the present state of time. Then legal impunity. Now there is no definition for the freebies, and Supreme Court also haven't haven't given any restrictions on the use of freebies. So there is legal impunity related to this. Hence, once time and again political parties have been vouching for these freebies and trying to influence the voter behaviors. Okay. Now we will understand what the Supreme Court says and views this issue of freebies. Okay. So presently in 2022, a PIL was filed related to the prevention of use of freebies by the political parties in different elections. So at that point of time, Supreme Court says that no, we will not interfere in this process of preventing freebies or restricting the use of freebies in the political elections, because according to Supreme Court, it is a part of law-making process. As it is a part of law-making process, that means only legislatures can work on them, and hence they are not interfering in freebies. Okay, but the Supreme Court says that there is a need for having a apex body or apex authority, which we have talked in the first slide itself, that there is a need of apex body which should consist of members from different organizations or different institutions of India. For example, Niti Aayog, Finance Commission, opposition and ruling parties, RBI and other different stakeholders, for suggesting that how this culture can be controlled. Okay, they have a work to find out what are the pros and what are the cons of this freebies culture. Okay, in this line, Supreme Court directed the Election Commission of India to pass guidelines or frame guidelines to conduct this, to conduct the election manifestos. कि manifesto में जब political parties बोल रही हैं, they are vehemently giving speech, directions in their manifestos कि if we are coming into the power, we will give this much amount of value of things to the people, we will do this, we will give this free, we will give this free. Okay, so Supreme Court has asked Election Commission of India to frame guidelines in this direction, that how the manifesto will be designed accordingly, to prevent the use of freebies. Then, and on that line, Supreme Court passed guidelines that in model code of conduct, parties should avoid promises that vitiate the purity of the election process or exert undue influence on the voters. So according to Supreme Election Commission of India, that in their model code of conduct, they passed out this guidelines that the parties should restrict from using the use of freebies in their election manifesto, or using the kinds of things in their election manifesto which can influence, which can try to vouch for the voters in their own favor. Okay. In 2013, there was case related to Subramaniam Balaji versus State of Tamil Nadu in Supreme Court related to the use of freebies. Okay, there was case by some parties that the state government is trying to vouch voters by giving free TV boxes, by giving free money to these what we can say women and all. Okay, Supreme Court in that decision also says that although the distribution of freebies influences people. Now read carefully this statement given by the Supreme Court, that although the distribution of freebies influences people, that means this is one of the negative impacts of freebies, and shakes the root of free and fair elections, again a different negative impact of freebies. So in this judgment itself, Supreme Court is trying to portray the freebies are not good for the society. That although the distribution of freebies influences people and shakes the root of free and fair elections, but the promise or distribution of such freebies cannot be considered bribery or corruption, and court tell that government how to spend public money. The court cannot tell government how to spend the public money. So according to Supreme Court, that yes, it influences people's voting behavior, yes, it's tried to impact the free and fair election system of Indian democracy, but they are not in a right position to tell about the corruption and all involved or related to this freebies. Okay, that according to Supreme Court, that if freebies are part of DPSP, that means in DPSP there is one article which is related to the government work related to welfare measures for the common people, welfare measures for the society. Okay, so if these freebies are doing these welfare measures of the society, if these freebies are taken in accordance of the finance bill presented by the state legislature in the assemblies, then these are not considered as corrupt practices, these are not considered as freebies. Okay. Now, what are the positive impacts of freebies? That how they are positively influencing the society. First is, there is already unequal access of and distribution in society. Okay, there is inequality in society, there is poverty in society, which we have understood earlier also. That if there is inequality in society, there is inequality in access and distribution of resources in the society. So freebies are considered as one kind of measures to prevent this to redistribute the resources. That freebies are nothing but redistribution of resources, increasing the access of resources among the common people. And by giving free electricity, by giving free electronic appliances, suppose some one particular family is very poor in the living in one constituency. Okay, and there will be lot of particular poor families in the living in that constituency. So they didn't have any TVs, they didn't have any refrigerators in their homes. So what if one government tries to help them, or one party is trying to vouch their votes by giving them free TV, by giving them free washing machine, by giving them free refrigerators and all. So this creates a perception that there are resources in the society, but these communities are not able to enjoy the benefits of those resources. So one political party is trying to increase the living index of families involved by giving them free electronic equipments. Okay, so first is there is already unequal access of distribution of resources. So this positive impact is that they are trying to change that thing. Then the next is duty of welfare government. So every government in an Indian democracy has a duty according to DPSP to provide welfare for the society and the marginalized communities. Okay, so freebies is one kind of a connotation for this welfare governance system of the Indian democracy. That although they are trying to give free things to the society, but they are part of their welfare mechanism, which has been dictated by the constitution itself. The next is economic development. That now these poor communities who are getting free of the things, for example, free electricity, free water, free electronics, free bus service, bus rides, etc. So that means they can use that money in consuming something else. That means they are this is increasing the consumption level in the society, consumption level in the economy. So if consumption level is increasing, that means there is economic development. Okay, so it is basically related to the consumption which is boosting economy. Then human development, that it increases the human development of the society. Okay, so according to one Niti Aayog report, freebies such as giving bicycles to the girl children. Basically, this scheme has been was started in Bihar, then it was started in West Bengal also. So by giving free bicycles to girl students, that this freebie culture has been trying to increase their human development. How? That by giving free bicycles, they are getting to, they have gotten some instrument to reach their schools. They are gotten some kind of mode of transport to reach their colleges. That means there will be decrease in their retention capacity, which was found in this reading Niti Aayog report, that now the women or girls have been retained more in the schools, retaining more in the colleges. Okay, so the freebies such as bicycles given to school girls in Bihar and West Bengal increased their enrollment rate and retention rates, reduced dropout rates, and improved their learning outcomes. है ना कि by decreasing the amount or time of travel, it also increase their time in learning the curriculum, learning their syllabus, learning their subjects, which further increase their learning outcomes too. Then last is increased voter turnout, है ना. In the end, Indian democracy, any democracy flourishes with the increase in the voter turnout. Unless and until people are coming in the large numbers to vote, there will be no proper functioning of the democracy. That means people voices are not being heard. So although they are trying to vouch voters by giving something free, which is bad for the economy, which is bad for the society, which we will understand in the next slides, but in the end it is also increasing the voter turnout in the society. People are coming in the large numbers to give votes. Why? Because this is a kind of a patronage client relationship, which is also negative impact, which we will talk about later. But some political parties giving free and taking a promise that you will come and vote for our party, है ना, कि अगर हम चाहे फ्री में आपको चीज दे रहे हैं, but in the end you will come and vote for the vote at the political booth. Okay, so in the end it is increasing the voter turnout also. Okay, so this is a very much important positive point of this freebies. Now, what are the negative impacts of freebies? That how this is impacting the society in a negative connotation. First is, it is considered as an elitism concept. Elitism concept. That freebies exposes the elitism in society, where the poor are seen as being unproductive and dependent on charity. कि सब कुछ तो फ्री में मिल रहा तो काम करने की जरूरत ही क्या है. This is the notion which has been developed by this freebies culture. Another negative impact related to this elitism concept is, which will be in some other point also, but I will tell you here, that एक तो notion बन गया कि this poor people are unproductive and dependent on charity because government is providing every help, तो काम करने की जरूरत क्या है. That means it is impacting the what we can say, that employment level of society. That people are not ready to work for employment. People are not ready for the self improvement. है ना. In the rural areas now there is decrease, increase in the Manrega wages, but there is also a decrease in the people who are looking for work in the farms. Why? Because government is already providing them free ration. है ना. They don't want to go and work in the farms now. Earlier what was the thing, that there is if they will not work, there will be no food in the houses. But from the last 3 to 4 years, there are increase in the food supply in the rural areas, that too free. Okay, because of this Pradhan Mantri Anyadoya Yojana, Garib Kalyan Yojana, etc. So this is impacting the employment level in the rural areas. This is impacting the opportunities which individuals should use for the self improvement, that now they are not ready to do any kind of work. Okay. The next is fiscal burden. Obviously, if something is given free, that means some charges, it will have some charges anyhow. So where these charges will come, that charges will come from the state public offers. So according to CAG report, that the proportion of subsidies in the state's total revenue expenditure has grown to 8.2% in 2021 from 7.8% in 2019 to 20 because of this freebies. Okay. In this lines, RBI has also given its report in our bulletin in 2022. So according to RBI bulletin, that this freebies culture and subsidies culture has, the pressure is on gross state domestic production, GSDP of states. Okay. For example, some states like Andhra Pradesh, they will have to give up their 27 to 28% of GSDP on freebies, because those are they have given so much they have promised so much to give to free to the society, to the common people of the state. So they have to lose 27 to 28% of their GSDP on freebies only. And in case of states like Punjab, which are already in debt, this percentage jumps to around 45%. Okay, so if the government is utilizing 30 to 45% of their tax revenue or part of their GSDP on providing things for free or on giving freebies to the society, what kind of other benefits that government can do? That will be a different challenge. Okay. Then undermining democratic spirit, that it is impacting the decision making behavior of the voters. है ना, कि हम तुम्हें फ्री में चीज दे रहे हैं तो तुम हमें ही वोट दो. That means they are trying to influence the voter behavior. They are trying to influence the voting behavior of the society, which is a undermining threat for the Indian democracy, which is not right for free and fair elections. Okay, that was the judgment given by Supreme Court also in their 2013 judgment. Then impacting policy making. According to Julius Verniers, that freebies culture can lead to the politics of redistribution, where political parties try to attract voters through the distribution of material benefits rather than focusing on long term policy making and governance. कि अभी हम फ्री दे देते हैं, बाद की बाद में देखी जाएगी. That means what we have talked about earlier, that it is seen as a quick fix solution to the problems, social welfare problems. That means government is trying to running away from the impact, long-term social policy making by focusing on this temporary gains or temporary freebies issues, freebies kind of things. Then dependency syndrome, that it is nothing but a dependency syndrome, है ना? Entitlement syndrome, what we can say that entitlement mentality. Entitlement mentality. Okay, what this means, just read down this example of this Association of Democratic Reforms, ADR. It showed that the 41% of voters in Tamil Nadu considered freebies as an important factor in voting, while 59% said that they were not they are satisfied with the performance of the state government. What this dependency syndrome means, that the people think government as their, or government think people as the dependent on each other. Okay, now it will increase the dependency of people on government, that we will not work if the government is, if the political party is giving this help this year in the form of freebies, that means this party will give us help in the next year also, then the next year also. है ना, कि अगर गवर्नमेंट, अगर कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी अगर हमें ये चीज़ फ्री में अभी दे रही है तो इसका मतलब ये आगे भी देगी. That means the people are dependent on the political party. That we don't need to do any work, we don't need to earn any money, everything is, we are getting everything is free. That means it is good for us. So if this time is free, that means this will be free for the next time also. So this is a dependency culture, entitlement, mentality which is creating, which these freebies are creating among the common people. Then inefficiency in governance. Obviously, if they are focusing on the temporary gains, if they are focusing the political party is focusing on the temporary material gains which are they getting by giving freebies, so that means they are not focusing on this policy making or long-term policy making, which we have understood earlier. So in the end, it is impacting the governance of the society, that there will be no such productive governance mechanism which will be done. There will be no such community development initiatives that will be taken. So according to Dipankar Gupta, that the freebies culture can lead to a demand-driven democracy where voters will demand immediate gains. कि हमें तो भाई आप अभी 2000 रुपये दे दो, हमें बाद का नहीं पता कि आप लोग हमारी हेल्प करोगे कि नहीं करोगे, आप हमें अभी 2000 रुपये दे दो, हम आपको वोटिंग में हम आपकी हेल्प कर देंगे. So it is creating a demand-driven democracy where voters demand immediate benefits rather than prioritizing long-term development goals, which can further hinder the development, governance stability and continuity. आज एक पार्टी बोल रही है कि हम आपको इतने रुपए दे देंगे, इतनी चीजें फ्री में दे देंगे. What if the in the next year some different political party comes and says that we will give you double that amount? Obviously the voters will vouch for that, and that will be a governance uncontinuity in the governance. Then misallocation of resources. Now on spending so much on the freebies, governments are spending so much on the freebies, that means the money which could have utilized in making good infrastructure, making good social welfare benefits, or social welfare plans, there is no money for those infrastructure development, those manufacturing development industries, etc. Okay, so that means the allocation of resources is going in somewhat inefficient direction. Okay, so according to Niti Aayog, they have given an example of the Uttar Pradesh government which is giving free laptops to the students. That Niti Aayog has criticized that freebies such as laptops given by Uttar Pradesh government diverted fund from major urgent needs such as improving school infrastructure, teacher quality और learning outcomes. जहाँ पे फोकस होना चाहिए सोसाइटी का कि how we can improve the human development thing, how we can improve the health, how we can improve the education, how can improve the water accessibility, how we can improve, make more government hospitals, how we can make more higher education institutions that too of qualitative nature. They are trying to vouch voters by giving them free temporary things like laptops. Unless and until there is education related to digital revolution, education related to the use of laptops, what are these laptops being used for by the students? There are no proper teacher student ratio in the schools, but we are providing them free laptops. What is the benefit of that? Okay, there are no doctors in the primary healthcare centers in the rural areas, but we are giving free washing machine to the rural women. What is the benefit of that? So there is misallocation of resources which should be prevented. Then unethical measures to capture power. So obviously by vouching voters by giving something them for free, it is considered as it is one kind of an unethical measures, that we are giving you free, तो हमें वोट दे दो आप. So it is not a right sign for a strengthening or fruitful democracy. Then impact on environment. Obviously if you are giving free electricity, free water, you can have a you are getting a guarantee that you can use as much as water as possible from the groundwater table. There will be no repercussions for that. So obviously it is going to impact environment. What has happened in the case of Punjab, which was highlighted by CAG. The CAG revealed in its study that the free electricity for farmers in Punjab led to overuse and wastage of power, low tax compliance and poor quality of service delivery by the state power utility. On the one hand, it has impacting the environment also. On the other hand, it is impacting the governance also. That governance has become inefficient. कि फ्री में तो दे रहे हैं तो इनको 24 घंटे पावर देने की क्या जरूरत है. Okay, then emergence of personality cults. That freebies जब भी दिए जाते हैं, whenever they are trying to give freebies to the society or to the common people, they are giving on the name of the political leaders. Okay, so that is not improving the, you know, or strengthening the political party, strengthening the stature of the political party, but strengthening the nature of the what we can say common political personality. Okay, so these tying of, you know, this freebies culture creates personality cults in the political sphere, which is not good for the, which is not healthy for the political, you know, growth of the Indian society. Then patron client syndrome, that it is a nothing but a patronage kind of relationship between voter as well as political party, कि हम आपको कुछ फ्री में दे रहे हैं तो आप हमें अपना वोट दो. Okay, so this was highlighted by Milan Vaishnav, that political parties use freebies to build clientelist relationship with specific voter segments, thereby securing their loyalty. है ना? One another different example will be taken in this, consider as the issue of liquor ban or alcohol ban in Bihar. Then Nitish Kumar government has banned, you know, alcohol in Bihar. Now the major impact was done on women, that it was considered as a woman specific kind of thing, that for the woman, you know, improvement of the woman life, we have done this, because there were more, you know, many vices done on the basis of liquor. So they have gained the loyalty of this woman section, woman voters for JDU or Nitish Kumar, you know, as a CM face. So this kind of loyalty also get expressed because of this freebies culture. In southern India, we have seen that most of the parties, that AIADMK is giving free these kind of things. So it has been, you know, kind of a relationship that every particular, you know, member of this particular community will give vote to this AIADMK people only, that they are giving us free every year some kind of things. Then divisive politics. Some freebies are used as a, you know, instrument to create division in society on the basis of religion, on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of race. That we are giving, what if the political party says that we are giving this thing free for this particular community party only, particular community only. We are giving this free for the, or we are giving free pilgrimage trips to this particular community only. So in the end, it is creating a division in the society, which is not good for the growth of democracy, which is not good for the growth of society. Then unsustainable promises, that obviously if 30 to 40% of, you know, state revenue is being utilized on the freebies only, that how this is sustainable? This will create problems for the future generation. This will create problems for the future policies. Okay. So R. Sudarshan has said that the freebies culture can undermine the effectiveness of social welfare programs. By offering short-term benefits, politicians might divert attention from the need for comprehensive and sustainable policies. Sustainable policies में resources ज़्यादा लगेंगे, sustainable policies में time ज़्यादा लगेगा, but जब resources ही नहीं होंगे, जब पैसा ही नहीं होगा उन sustainable resources को बनाने के लिए, then how they are going to be used by the society in a long term? Then inefficiency in people's work culture, which we have already discussed, that now people are not if people are getting everything is in free, why they will work, go out and work for themselves and for their family. Then corruption. Obviously these freebies come with a corruption kind of thing, है ना, कि every time there will be some corruption issue involved in these freebies, because there will be selection of beneficiaries, there will be, you know, selection of people who will be, or middlemen who will be granting beneficiaries to these freebie beneficiaries. So in the end, this will create a culture of corruption, or this creates a culture of corruption in society. Okay. So these were the basic negative and positive connotations or concepts related to the freebies. We understood what is the need of freebie and why this freebie culture has given prominence in society nowadays. Now what can be the way forward? You must have prepared this for your GS2 part also, that what can be a way forward. We will be not, you know, dealing in that detail here. But one, in a sociological framework, you can write one thing. First is that you have to change the behavior of society. that today's free thing will prove costly for future generation. Okay, so this is the sociological kind of point which we could have written here. Other will be that obviously the Supreme Court is trying to make a particular body for this, that which will look for the pros and cons related to freebies and all. We will write that then there will be strengthening of Election Commission of India, that they should have a proper guidelines related to the use of freebies and all. Okay, then there will be some accountability and transparency kind of mechanism needed for the freebies. Then there will be that strong adherence, strong guidelines to the states, that if this is the amount of your state revenue which is going to be in use of freebies, you will be not given any particular extra amount to be utilized in their from the central tax revenue. So these kind of repercussion measures can be also written. So this was the lecture of freebies. Okay, in the next we will try to analyze the issue of some issues related to religious or our chapter of religion and society from paper 1 as well as in paper 2. Okay, till then, take care, goodbye.